Have you ever had to have like a difficult talk with somebody that was like
Yes.
either staying with
Yes.
you or?
Yes. I've had, oh God, we could go back to like really old. We had a guy, I don't know, do you know the story
Are we
of the
talking
creature?
about the creature?
Yeah.
The guy that just showed up?
Wait, okay, you tell the story. I have
Yeah.
actually a good story for you. I don't
So-
even know if you know this.
I don't like talking about it because, you know, like, that motherfucker probably gets off on hearing this story about him, right? It's like his entire claim to fame, but it's still an interesting story nonetheless. There was a guy, and this is, I must have been about 19 years old, and there was a very different time in streaming where, you know, you actually trusted people. You know, the internet wasn't as prominent, so you didn't see as many psychos, and you didn't expect the worst out of people all the time. So when I was, you know, coming to this new fame as a streamer, I really actually enjoyed hanging out with fans. And I actually, there was a time when we lived with our parents, I gave our address out on purpose, and people sent
What?
Yeah.
Jesus, dude. Okay.
Yeah, I did.
I didn't
back
know
on
that.
back on Xfire. Yeah, that's how they got it. I gave it to them.
Good job,
because I
Chance.
trusted
Great.
them, and they never did anything
It was a different time, yeah.
Bro, they delivered pizzas to the house.
that were paid for. All of them were always
Fair.
paid for.
Fair.
It was very different. And so, anyways, you know, these random people found our address, and the way they found our address was kind of messed up. It's interesting, but basically, I said on stream, I was like, I bet no one could find my address. That was a mistake because now someone was taunted, and they went through and they calculated we did a video where we drove to Chili's, and they calculated the time to get to Chili's, and then we drove to McDonald's. They calculated the time to get to McDonald's, and then they also saw in one video you could see out the window and see the coloring of our roof. So they found our condo complex by finding the color of the roof and the distance to Chili's, distance to McDonald's, and they made this whole Google Doc, and now the address is leaked. Anyways,
Triangulated.
it was all sorts of different things that went into it, but that was a short story. It's crazy. Random people started showing up, and one of them showed up. He drove 18 hours to the house. He's walked in the door. He's like, hey, man, I drove so long. I was like, oh, cool. Hey, let me take you to... I took him to Chili's, just me and him. And he seemed somewhat normal, seemed fine. A little weird, but I dealt with it. It's fine. Came back, and I felt bad. I was like, listen, you drove so long. Let him stay in the room. And this went on for a long time, and eventually, you know, the next day came by, and he's like, I'm too tired, I don't want to drive. That's fine, all right, whatever, one more day. I'm streaming, do your thing. Nick had enough. Nick's left. It's like, listen, I'm not staying in the house with this fucking weirdo. No offense. So he went, stayed with his parents. So I'm in there alone. I'm locking my door at night at this point. And eventually, I'm like, okay, I need to kick this motherfucker out. But I don't have the balls to do it. So Nick's ex had to come in, and basically the police were almost getting brought in.
Wait, you're telling me that you and Nick were too scared to do it, so you got a girl to do it?
Yeah.
Nice.
But she did it. And I mean, we were there, you know, we were backing her up, but it was like, you know, we're not trying to, like, she was way bigger than us. She beat the fuck out of him. I was just, I'm a twink, you know, I'm not going to do shit. So, yeah, the police, I think, got involved. I don't know. The guy left drugs in the house, got kicked out. And then after he left, we found some weird shit. He was like feeling my mouse pad, like, oh, Sodapoppin. And he filmed it and he posted it himself. Weird shit. Then the guy was getting like consistently banned on Twitch repeatedly because he kept trying to stream and was like doxing. He's just stupid. But sorry, I went on this whole tangent from your one question.
There's something.
So the thing, I don't know if you know this. It was my first Twitchcon. I went to Twitchcon, and one of the first people I met, I knew no one, literally no one. Like, I was brand new to Twitch and didn't even know, like, anyone. And I was approached by this guy, and I thought he was just really nice and started hanging out with me. And I ended up coming up to you. You remember this? And it was the creature.
Did I end up telling him to go the fuck away?
You like pulled me aside, and you were like, dude, do you know who that is? Or someone else might have.
It might have been someone else.
Someone pulled me aside and was like, do you know who the fuck that is? And I was like, no. And he's like, that's the creature. And I had never even seen that stream or knew anything about it. So I had no idea who he was. But I guarantee he specifically targeted me because he knew me from your streams and knew that it would be like another chance to get closer to you. It was the
It's really weird, right? It's crazy.
Yeah.
But like, and I'm not, every streamer has their, I guess, I don't know if I call him a stalker at this point, but you've got those.
That's a stalker, dude.
I mean,
what else are you
at the
call
time,
it?
yeah. Nowadays, I don't really have as much. I've heard crazier stories that other people have to deal with, right? And that's
Vampire Craig.
there's some crazy shit, and that's tame. That's really tame for what other people got to deal with, right? So that's the worst, I'd say, out of all that kind of shit I have to deal with.
Was that the first time that you sort of felt like things had changed and like the internet started to become the way it is now?
At that point, I don't know. I mean, there's other things that it was. I guess that was a point.
Yeah.
You say like not the point, right? Because there's other things where I'm like, oh fuck, you know, like I learned that, you know, I had someone steal 25 grand from me, someone I let stay at my house, and I loaned them a computer, and I gave them my PayPal was saved on it, and they were pretending to donate to themselves with my PayPal, right? So it's like now I don't trust fucking anyone. So not only do I not trust viewers, I don't trust any of these motherfuckers. So it's all fucked.